I found it on Rhema Radio.
Hey everyone out there, Happy New Year's Eve or Happy New Year's Day, whichever time you're listening to this. This is Jason, and you're listening to the Rhema Radio, the weekly podcast on faith, culture, music, and more. And today with me in the studio is the very friendly Julia Pong, who is one of the hosts on Rhema Radio. Hi, Julia.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah. And also in the studio, we are so blessed, so honored to have the man who I've been trying to get into the Rhema Radio studio since we first started. He is the founding pastor, one of the founding pastors of Bangsa Lutheran Church. He lectures in STM, which is the what does STM stand for?
Malaysia Theological Seminary.
Sorry. My bad. And I just found out he is one of Malaysia's probably the first pastor blogger. It's way back in 2002. So welcome to the studio, Pastor Sivin Kid.
Thank you. Finally,
we got you into the studio.
Yeah.
There's no
it's 1 year.
It's
okay.
Yeah, we
just before the year ends.
Just
saved
made
the best for us.
Just made it.
And it's interesting, isn't it? We are here in this studio, and we will release this Friday, the last Friday of the year, on the 29th. But some of you may be listening to it later, so it may be in January. So we are talking from 2017, but you probably listening to this in 2018. It's like a time machine. We're projecting ourselves into the future.
Right. Yeah. Back to the future.
So I thought it'd be good that we are here in this place and we just talk about 2017, more like in a summary, in a reflection. How has 2017 been for you guys? And we're going to have a roundtable session here. So yeah, how has it been for you, Julia?
Well, okay. Personally, 2017, a good mixture. There have been good things and bad things. As a church in CDPC Subang, I think in SS15, we started off 2017 with actually a miraculous healing of our lead pastor, Pastor Ming, from his cancer. So, and I think throughout this entire thing, we saw the whole journey of the church as we grew more united and as we really started to believe again in prayer. So
amazing. I
only
knew
good things can happen.
Yeah, I heard about his illness, but I didn't know he's healed.
He is completely.
Praise God.
Yeah,
I think I just saw him maybe a month or two ago, and he looks fantastic.
Correct.
And it's encouraging.
Compared to December in 2016 when he was back, he was shrunken.
Assuming we did not plan this, but somehow you've made an appearance in our show. So
you're the highlight, and I think seriously from then the church has grown. The leaders have come up, and the church has really come together.
Right.
Oh, that's
really
great. And it's great to hear that the church is supporting the pastor throughout the whole ordeal, and I think that's what being a church is about, a healing community. So that's great.
2017, Pastor Sivin.
And this year has been very intense. A lot of things going on. I was organizing plenty of seminars here and there, involved in different panels and talking, and of course teaching in the seminary, and also pastoring a church. People ask me, what do you do? And then I'm married with one wife and 4 kids. Not the other way around. Very important. Very important. So it's not easy. You're trying to balance so many things and also try to have some space for yourself. It's a challenge, and keeping God at the center of this whole thing, ministry, family.
At the risk of offending pastors out there, I feel Pastor Sivin is really one of the busiest pastors, because every other week I'll be getting a message, this talk and this event and this thing that he's organizing or he's part of, and I really hats off to you, like really respect the things that you're doing out there. Inspirational and tiring.
Indeed.
I think it may not be that other pastors are not doing.
Of course not.
It could just be that you are using
social
how to
media.
use more social media to the best of its capability.
Maybe I'm just relaxing and I'm just tweeting out there or just sharing, and
it's a projected
image. And then the funny thing is, one of the books that I read years ago was by Eugene Peterson, and the title was The Unbusy Pastor.
The Unbusy Pastor.
Yeah, clearly I have not really practiced it well. But having said that, there are important moments where you need to rest.
Right.
Indeed.
So for myself, it's been amazing year, a year of new beginnings. Of course, Rhema Radio being one of it. We kickstart in December of last year, and this whole year has been really just full on, just getting in and out and week in week out. Also, some of you knows me. I have a startup, I'm running that. and just balancing the whole thing. So I understand where all of us are coming from. The balancing act is a constant thing. It's a very challenging thing, but it can also be a very adventurous, again, rewarding experience. Okay, so I thought it'd be good that we can talk about how 2017 has been for the Christian community in Malaysia. And I'm trying to think of different highlights that we've had, as in reflection, like different things that we've endured or we've done and we've celebrated. Yeah.
I think the year really started off with a great shock to many of us and a challenge. I think today it's important for us to remember Pastor Raymond Koh.
Yes.
And I think I don't need to go into too much of detail. Those of us who are listening here will know that he has been abducted until now. We don't know, we don't have enough answers to the many questions that we have. But I'm encouraged to see that there are people coming alongside the family members, and there were vigils and people participated. Of course, sometimes when it comes to things like this, people tend to forget easily. So I think it's important for us to continue praying. I appreciate many statements from the church leaders, and also, people of other faiths also showing concern. And of course, it's not just Pastor Raymond. We have other names mentioned, Joshua Hilmi, a couple, both of them, and of course a Muslim, Amri. So I guess this is also a great shock to Malaysia as a society, that we have actually people missing or abducted or with no news. I think we need to keep on praying for this, and just see what the Lord is saying to us.
We at Rhema have had the privilege of talking to Susanna Koh, Pastor Raymond's wife, and also at the, I think was it the 50th day after his abduction. The one thing that I can see that came out of it, and it was encouraging, is the support and the different churches just coming together and just praying. It was at SSMC that we were different pastors and ministry leaders coming around, and when we say one part of the body is hurting, the whole body hurts. So that is one thing that I felt, a lot of many challenging and hard things that happened, but the one good thing that came out is that, hey, we know that family is there and family looks out for each other.
I think the kingdom mentality was even more apparent during this time. I mean, when you attended the various events for support, it didn't matter what denomination you came from. It didn't matter whether you came from a small church, mega church. Echoing what you said about one part of the body hurting, and even all Malaysians came through, and that's something that is so lacking in this broken, very very hurting, divisive time that we are
it's a
in.
divisive climate, and also we are very busy, and that's why I really appreciate the fact that we need to mention this again. It's uncomfortable, it's not pleasant, but that's reality, that's life, and we don't want to have an illusion that everything is just smooth sailing, but we have to continue to press on and keep that kingdom mentality going. We are Christians pun mudah lupa. We Christians are sometimes easily preoccupied with our own projects and our own things. So I think incidents like this puts things into perspective. What is really important? What is our priority? And I think we also should pray for others who are involved in more human rights perspectives, where there are inquiries, there are questions raised, there are continuous statements made. I think we are also learning how to engage prayer and action together.
And we learn, so 2017, we've learned how a bit better how to organize ourselves and how to respond to an extent. There's no guidebook and there's no easy way to respond to a situation like this, but I would say that we are better off than we were before, and I think we are more sensitive and a bit more focused in our approach.
Be more gracious and
be more
cover it
gracious.
all in love.
So we're going to take a short break right now, but when we come back, we're going to talk more about 2017 to 2018.
Happy New Year! I'm Terry from DUMC.
And I'm John from Glad Tidings PJ.
And here's wishing you a Happy New Year. And let's believe and pray for a powerful 2018.
2018 will be a great year, despite what people say, because we have a God who does the impossible.
Amen.
Okay, everyone, we're back, and Julia, Jason, and Sivin, we're coming back to the roundtable on a recap of 2017. Coming back to what else piqued our interest and what else was happening in the Christian community in 2017.
Well, building on to what we just shared just now, I think it's great to see the churches really praying. So the Prayer United 24/7 has been a great resource. I've been getting some of their prayer items, and it's not just prayer items, pray for this. It's actually some commentary and just explaining why it's important to pray. And combined with more Christians are interested and engaged. Many people coming for the forums that I organize through the Center for Religion and Society, as well as other groups like Kairos, Dialogue Network, etc. Or even other people. I think people want to be informed, and so that we can pray with an informed manner and also engage. We want to do something too. And I think that's great, because prayer and action should be together and should not be separated. So I think that's one thing that I'm very thankful for this year as well. And building on to that, this year, and I'm speaking as a Lutheran pastor now, I'm very thankful that we celebrated the Reformation 500.
Oh, indeed.
Wow.
You know, it's like 1517 was when Martin Luther nailed the 95 Theses, at one of the churches in Wittenberg, and that's the spark of the Reformation. That's how most people would tell the story. But in Malaysia, I really had the privilege to organize some events and observe also events where Catholics and Protestants have come together. And you were talking about the divisiveness, right, in Malaysia, the climate. I think this was a great opportunity for us to show that once upon a time, when Catholics and Lutherans or Protestants would be at each other's throats, but now sitting together and talking about issues and what does it mean to be a Christian in Malaysia was very, very rewarding for me personally as an organizer. And just to observe the ordinary folk coming together. So we had one event in St. SFX Church, St. Francis Xavier Church, PJ, for the English. And we did something in Chinese too. So there was something in different languages. And there were some events in Sabah, if I remember, as well. And probably Sarawak, I'm not too sure. But different parts of Malaysia had this going on. So it's great to see Catholics, Roman Catholics and Protestants, Lutherans, Methodists, Evangelical, Pentecostals, you name it, Presbyterians, semua lah. The whole rojak came together, and it was tasty.
Yeah, it was tasty. I like how you ended that. And it's an ongoing effort, isn't it? It wasn't like an overnight thing or a 1 year thing. It's been how many years now? This effort towards unity.
Yeah, I mean, this goes back even maybe 40, 50 years ago for the global level, Lutheran World Federation and the Vatican. But in Malaysia, I guess we generally have been together. There has been many controversies where there are certain court cases, and we were there to support the Roman Catholic Church, the Herald, for example, or other cases. And then we have been together on some issues, and we have worked together. But this is probably more intentional in a different way. Not waiting for something to happen that is negative before you come together, but rather taking a positive step and saying, hey, we can show that we are different. There are differences, but the core of it is really Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And that's a key word, isn't it? Unity in diversity, and there's intentionality in doing these things. And I feel that, do you feel, I don't know, the churches in Malaysia, I mean 2017 at least, in that context, have we been intentional enough in engaging one another, trying to connect or fellowship? Do you think? I know that, well, one thing I know is that some churches have done like sports day together.
Oh, really? Joined once?
Yeah. I didn't join that, but I know there are churches that come together and was it in competition, but in healthy competition.
Okay.
And that I think was a good picture. And I also know of events being held in each other's venue premises, and I think that's also a very nice picture.
Yeah, I think based on Julia's reaction, probably there's room for improvement.
I was about to say that.
I don't know if you can hear her expression through the airwaves.
And I was with her pastor, Pastor Wong Fong Yang, just another name dropping now, because we were at a unity prayer service also in the beginning of the year, and thank God for that, where we had the Catholics, Presbyterians, Methodists, NECF, CCM, every representatives coming together. But I guess based on your reaction, and I agree with you, often we have the leaders doing it. And I guess more needs to be done really at the grassroots levels for the pastors and maybe the youth groups and all that. And I think I'm from a Christian fellowship tradition, CF, Scripture Union, Fellowship of Evangelical Students and university students. So I've worked with different groups, and I realized those were good times where you really felt where all of us were from a different denomination having a great witness or at least I supported the kind of witness at a university or private colleges.
Yeah.
And I think looking forward, that would be great to see more.
And my own personal view of things is like this, is that there is always lines, all right? And it's where you draw the line. Like, even in this studio, let's say we draw a line between gender, then there's a line there. Or we draw a line between, like, which football club we support, then maybe there's a different line. Or as an age, then there's a different line. So it's how we draw these lines, and how we, even as a country, you know, this race and that race, you know, I think it's really that kind of thinking that we need to, the maturity and
that's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that really, when we talk about Christian unity, it always comes with Christian maturity. And I think in the light of what's going on around us, really, this call for us to be mature and discerning is a very strong call, I feel, especially as we move forward. And one of the things is really important, and I'm not sure whether we have time, but to highlight something else that is really in my mind right now.
So we're going to take a short break. What's on Pastor Sivin's mind? And talk more about 2018. Stay tuned.
My name is Siuming, lead pastor at CDPC Subang, wishing all the listeners at Rhema Radio a blessed new year. Be bold, be strong, for the Lord your God is with you.
Hi, I'm Pastor Sandra Chin from XKL, wanting to wish everyone out there a blessed and a happy new year. May 2018 be a year of new beginnings for many of you, and that every dream you have, may God bring it to pass. God bless.
Hey, you're listening to Rhema Radio, the weekly podcast on faith, culture, music, and more. And this is Jason, and you've been listening to Julia Pong and Pastor Sivin Kit. And now we're going to talk more about what's on Pastor Sivin Kit's mind, which is a lot. You know, Pastor Sivin has a lot.
Yeah, that's why all my hair is dropping.
Even before coming here, the guests that came before us, I said we were going to have a show with Pastor Sivin, and they're like, wow, heavy stuff. Oh no.
I'm scared.
Really?
No. But we're going to talk more about, okay, so 2018, what's in store, what are we hopeful for, and back to what's on your mind.
And I think I can put that together, because one of the things I can say it on this show is that I'm really thankful for Rhema Radio. And we were talking about this about a year ago at my church when we were having refreshments.
Yes.
And I think the thing that is on my mind, really, or maybe second or third thing, fourth thing, or many things, was that media. I think Rhema Radio is one of the very exciting initiatives, and you've done great work. Different people have come on, and I just want to celebrate this. And looking forward, I think I just hope there are more people supporting the show and just spreading it, and so that we can see how Rhema Radio can fulfill its vision of encouraging growth in discipleship through various means, of course, music, testimony, preaching, and all that. The Great Commandment, the Great Commission coming together. So I think that's great stuff. And of course, the other initiative that came out, and also from young people who look like both of you, who have not a lot of grey hair like mine. And it's a Safe Space, safespace.my, from Debbie Low, Alexa Ho, and I think it's a different initiative, different flavor, different approach, more vodcast, video and so-called heavy stuff, but not really heavy stuff, but rather just spending time dwelling on one issue and having more time. So I did some episodes with them, with a Catholic priest, George Harrison, and myself, and then they had someone talk about Calvinism and Arminianism, and actually it's around the same things about what does it mean to be united, what does Christian maturity mean, safespace.my. So they're doing great work, and I see this as exciting because moving forward we also want to talk about truth. We want to talk about faith, hope, that kind of themes. What does all this mean for the future? And really, communications, information, knowledge, wisdom is something that we need, since we're talking about maturity.
Yeah. Thanks again for the affirmation. And truly, just looking back, because we just celebrated our first anniversary, our first birthday, Rema as 1 year old baby. And just looking back at the guests that we have had on, and the sermons that we've shared, the songs that we've played, it's all quite it's very it's a whole picture of different things coming together, and it's a beautiful picture, I feel. And there's so much more, like you say, Pastor Sivin, there's so much more that we want to do, there's so much more that we can do if the body came together and supported.
And everybody wants this free, right? But it's costly, it takes time, right? And I know for Rhema Radio, and Safe Space, it's not easy to produce this stuff.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of effort, prayer, and sweat involved. So I really want to encourage people to just come behind all of you in the media, just how we can really share truth and share life into a world that is often full of very illusions and lies and really. So
I think the thing here is that people need to see, or I feel more people would see that online, a digital space is a mission field, right? And we talk about, I shared this in the first anniversary as well, that organizations and even countries, they have a digital strategy. Countries, these days fall because of social media. Countries, people rise up in positions of power because of whatever's online, and there is a strategy and there is a field that needs to be, where the light needs to be present. And that is what our aspiration is as Rhema Radio. From the very first day, we want to have positivity out there. We want to have testimonies, and we want to have God's word in a place where Christians can easily reach and share and be encouraged and be challenged and be blessed. And that is our aspiration. And hopefully we do a better job this 2018, this year. 2018, with this first year is more of training, learning. And people have been gracious. People have been coming on and agreeing to be on the show, despite us not knowing exactly what we're doing. We just play along. Okay, we're doing a radio station. Oh, and people, okay, you guys are expert. But I have a great team in Moses, Adeline, Veron, and we've been doing this, and really no regrets. Just so encouraging, just so blessed by the whole experience. So we're going to wrap up now, but final words, hopes for 2018. I love what you shared, Pastor Sivin and Julia. What do you think, especially the Christian community, what do we need more of in 2018 and moving forward? What are we hopeful for?
For me, I have really been thinking about re-engaging the scriptures deeper again. And what I mean by that is not looking at the Bible as the checklist of what you should do, or like an encyclopedia where you just go there to find the answers of your questions of your choice, right? But rather to I use the word realign our stories, our individual, corporate, or even national stories with God's story, God's vision of what He sees the world should be. And the Old Testament word for it is shalom. It's a wholeness, the peace that is really surpassing understanding, a peace that includes justice, truth, and all that. New Testament word, we have words, Jesus used words like kingdom of God, the reign of God, and some people misunderstand, these Christians, they're out to dominate us. No. We are called to be servants. And I share that with my friends. I've been in dialogue moments where I've shared this, that I follow a Lord that doesn't want to dominate you and oppress you, but rather a Lord that wants to free us. And of course, Paul uses the word the righteousness of God, and this is where the theologian in me comes out, right? The shalom of God, the kingdom of God, the righteousness of God. And it's really about what is right in His eyes, what He wants to put right. And it's our personal lives as well. So how do we align our life stories, broken, as you shared, Julia, earlier, to a story of beauty that is found with the vision of God?
Right.
But really, I think it's great to have a vision. That is His vision.
And I love that you talk about the stories, our stories aligning with God's story. And I think it goes back to really who is holding the pen and that's writing that story. Are we so wanting to be the one that's writing it ourselves, and I'm going to write this, my version, and this is going to be the best version, whatever it is, versus submitting it to God, who is the master writer, author, and finisher of our faith.
That's right. That's right.
Which is really hard for somebody in the urban setting, for instance, to do, right? Because the
busy people that we are.
The busy people. I mean, seriously, I'm thinking about what we want the Christian community to do, and you were talking just now about the unbusy pastor, right?
That's right.
Isn't that the reality of today? All of, even people at work, people in church, everybody is just so busy. And their commitments everywhere. There's work, there's travel, there's family, there seems to be everybody else but God. And I
can actually feel the people listening actually just nodding their head right now as you were saying all this. Yes, it's true.
and I'm hoping it's true because at the end of the day, if you want to really come back to the Word, if you really want to know your God, you have to spend time. And there's something that there's this discipline that I remember when we did Teen Street. We attended Teen Street, and there's this small slot that's called 0.5, right? And what it is just 30 minutes of doing absolutely nothing, right? I was there as a band member, and I struggled. But I remember even that 5 days, the first 2 days I struggled. The third day I finally calmed myself down and said, okay, God, what? And God spoke to me very clearly. Third day, the fourth day, and the fifth day. And I left Teen Street knowing and remembering that I have to rediscover that. And I think that's something that the busy urban family, not just families, even the singles out there have to really,
right.
Come back to.
Even
There's
the
no
retired guys and aunties, uncles are very
and
busy
the
too.
grannies, right? The
Yeah.
grandparents. And all that. There's no substitute for that.
Yeah,
Right? So,
I mean, as you shared that, I think we still have a bit of time.
Yeah.
One of the memorable moments, and this links my 2017-2018, was my recent pilgrimage with about 30 over people in the Holy Land. And there's one part, it was actually the last day, the day before we were going to go back, was we actually stopped by the wilderness, as in the wilderness just outside the holy city of Jerusalem, right? So this was a time when it was totally dark. And you are really walking on wilderness, is really, and there was only this little monastery, maybe you could see a monastery there where maybe 6 Christian monks are there doing their ministries or whatever. But here we are, 30 of us, and after the guide finished his explanation of why we were here, to experience what Jesus would have experienced or John the Baptist would have experienced, then I invited everyone to be silent for at least just 2 or 3 minutes. And many of the pilgrims told me that this was one of the most powerful moments for all of us. And I felt that myself, because it is when you come to a place where you have to strip all this away, and to just go to the core of it. And sometimes you have to face yourself, face your darkness, face your weakness, and then say, oh Lord, I really need you. And often the wilderness does that. Now, how to incorporate that for urban people, I think, is a challenge. And sometimes we have to intentionally find some space for that and then re-engage back. And that kind of rhythm is something I'm looking forward to myself. Since you said I am one of the busiest pastors, I repent here publicly of that. And hashtag all of us are repenting. I think all of us are in the same boat. And whether in full-time ministry or in the marketplace, the temptation is too great for us to be too busy to pray, too busy to relate to one another, and just simply too busy. And I think what we need is really as we move forward, a little nudge for some, so that we can let the Spirit lead us.
Thanks for being so real with us, Pastor Sivin and Julia, and myself. Really, hearing both of you, I agree wholeheartedly, and I'm also feeling the nudge, the big nudge. And you start off asking, okay, what do we need more in 2018? And I think the answer here really is to be still and know that God is God and He's in control. And while we, as hopeful as we are, we may come from different, intention or different directions or different places, but we all need to align. And 2018 would be an amazing year if we let Him take control. Yeah. Here we are at Rhema Radio, just cheering you on to an overcoming and to an amazing and purpose-filled 2018. God bless you, everyone.
Oh
救主新神王。
This segment features music by Rhema Radio and Friends. Today's episode is edited and mixed by Veronica Ng and recorded by Moses Chan at Prodeo Studio. Stream or download new episodes weekly on Friday evening. Like us on Facebook to find out the latest from Rhema Radio. Leave us a message and let us know what you'd like to hear in our coming episodes. You don't want to miss Andrew Bain's sermon, Remember the Lord, the Judge, shared at St. Mary's Cathedral in the next segment. Happy New Year, everyone! We hope you have an overcoming 2018 and the best is yet to come.
Rhema Radio is a non-profit initiative by the Love Malaysia Media Project. Time, talent, and treasure is put into creating the content you listen to. Your support enables us to keep this going and expand further. Log on to www.rhemarad.io/support to find out how you can partner with us in creating value-adding content that ministers to the masses. Once again, that's www.rhemarad.io/support. Let's get the word out there.
You're listening to Rhema Radio.